Here in Phoenix, Arizona, you don't have to be a woodworker, mechanic, crafter, or bodybuilder if you want air conditioning in your garage. Sometimes just getting into a car that's not 4,000 degrees inside is reason enough. And I can speak from experience on this one because over the years, I've tried every garage cooling option we're going to talk about in this video today. I started with a swamp cooler, then I tried a portable AC unit, then I tried a window unit, and eventually I moved into my current home with a 4-car garage. I finally bit the bullet and I went with the premium option, which is a ductless mini split. So in this video, I'm going to break down the options for a few $100 quick fix to premium solutions that can cost thousands of dollars. We'll talk about mini splits. We'll talk about portable AC units, about window AC units, and evaporative coolers, also known as swamp coolers. I'll tell you which ones work, which ones kind of work, which ones only work under the right conditions, and which option I chose for my own garage here in Arizona. Because cooling a garage in Phoenix isn't the same thing as cooling a bedroom. A bedroom doesn't have a 16-foot wide metal door baking in the afternoon sun. It also doesn't have gas cans, power tools, attic heat, and a concrete floor that's hot enough to melt your flip-flops. But before we get into the 4 good, better, and best options, let's start with the garage cooling idea I do not recommend. Tying your garage into your home's central air duct system is a bad idea. I know people ask about this a lot. It sounds simple. The house already has air conditioning. The garage is attached to the house. So why not just add a duct or two and, cool the garage with the same system? The problem is one of those ideas that sounds good right up until you understand what can go wrong. Your garage contains car exhaust, gasoline, fumes, paint, chemicals, lawn equipment, power tools, and carbon monoxide. That is not the same air that you want connected to your bedrooms, your kitchen, and your living room. And even if safety wasn't an issue, and it is, your home AC system wasn't designed to cool the house and the garage. So you're going to throw your house out of balance and make the rooms inside your home less comfortable, overtax your AC, and you'll still wind up with a hot garage. That's not a win. It's a way more expensive way to just be annoyed. So for this video, we're going to stick with options that actually make sense. I'm going to cover them in the order I personally tried them because like a lot of homeowners, I did not start with the premium solution. I started with the cheaper stuff first. Years ago, in a 2-car garage, the first thing I tried was an evaporative cooler. Most of us in Arizona call these swamp coolers. And to be fair, swamp coolers absolutely can work under the right conditions. An evap cooler works by moving air across water. So when the air is very dry, that evaporation can cool the air quite a bit. That's why swamp coolers have been used here in Arizona, in Nevada, New Mexico, and other dry climates for a very long time. And when the weather's right, they actually work pretty well. In the dry part of the season, a swamp cooler can take that miserable garage air and make it a lot more tolerable. Not necessarily cold, but better. The problem is that swamp coolers are very dependent on the outdoor conditions. So when the humidity goes up, the performance goes down. And here in Phoenix, especially in July and August, the results change in a hurry. The same cooler that felt pretty good in the dry weather can start to feel like it's blowing lukewarm laundry room air. That may not be the technical term, but if you've used one during humid weather, you know exactly what I mean. They also add moisture to the air. That may not be a big deal if you're just trying to take the edge off while you're working in your garage for, a few minutes or an hour or two. But if you're storing tools, equipment, certain materials, electronics, or anything that doesn't love extra humidity, it's really something that you need to consider. So my take on swamp coolers is this. They're not useless. They're not a scam. They absolutely can help in the right climate and in the right season, but they are not the same as refrigerated air conditioning. If your goal is, I just want this garage to be less brutal when the air is dry, swamp cooler makes sense. If your goal is, I want the garage comfortable all summer long in Phoenix, a swamp cooler would not be my first choice. So that brings me to the next thing I tried, a portable AC unit. These are rolling air conditioners that you can buy online or in big box stores. You roll them where you want them, you plug them in, and you vent hot air outside through a hose. I don't hate portable AC units. We actually keep portable AC units at Magic Touch for temporary cooling when our clients are waiting for certain repairs or installations to be done. They have their place. The good thing about a portable AC unit is it's easy. They're relatively inexpensive compared to a professionally installed system, and they plug into a standard outlet. So if you just need some quick relief, they can help. If you're working in the garage for an hour or two, a portable AC might make that time a little bit more bearable, but there are trade-offs. So first off, they can be a little loud, not jet engine loud, but they're not great for relaxing. Second, they have to vent that hot air somewhere. So that means a hose out a window, through a door, through a wall, or through some kind of a vent. And if you don't vent them properly, you're not really solving the problem. You're just moving heat around and making noise while you're doing it. Portable AC units also need drainage. Depending on the model and the humidity conditions, you're probably going to be dealing with a bucket or a drain hose or a condensate setup. And here's one of the biggest things that people miss. Many portable AC units are just a single hose. A single hose portable AC blows hot air out of the garage, but that air has to be replaced from somewhere. So in a leaky garage, you may be pulling hot air outside back into the space that you're trying to cool. It's not ideal when the outside air feels like it came from a toaster. So portable AC units can work, but I think of them as temporary relief or just spot cooling. They're good for, I need to work in the garage for 45 minutes. They're not great for, I want my garage to feel like a finished room in my house all summer. And in a finished garage, especially one with poor installation, they can struggle. The next thing that I tried personally was a window AC unit. And if you're from back east like I am, you probably grew up around window units. In New York, the window AC was basically part of the family. Usually a loud part of the family, but still we were all loud. Window AC units can cool a lot better than portable units because the hot side of the system that's exhausting air is on the outside. That's a more efficient setup than trying to roll the whole thing around inside the garage and vent through a hose. So in the right situation, a window unit can make sense. It is, in fact, refrigerated air, and it can be relatively inexpensive. For a small garage or a specific work area, it can do a pretty decent job. But here's the problem. Most garages don't have a convenient window just sitting in the perfect spot. So if you want to use a window AC in a garage, you may need to cut a hole in the wall. So now you're dealing with the installation, water management, security issues, appearance, and basically future replacement. Because what happens 5 years from now when that unit dies and the new one isn't the exact same size? Now your cheap solution may not feel so cheap anymore. Window units are also a lot louder than a mini split. They don't distribute air as evenly. They're not very attractive. And again, depending on where you live, they can create security concerns. People can push them right through and they got a hole in your wall. Would I use a window unit for a small garage, workshop, or on a tight budget? Yeah, maybe. Especially if there's already a good place to install it and the expectations are realistic. Would I recommend one for a nicer garage, for a gym, a finished workspace, a hobby room, or basically a high-end garage conversion? No, I wouldn't. It can work, but it's a compromise. And after trying the swamp cooler, the portable AC, and the window unit over the years, it eventually led me to the option I have now, which is a ductless mini split. When I moved into my current home with a 4-car garage, I knew the cheaper options weren't going to give me the result I wanted. This garage was a bigger garage, so it was a hotter garage, and I didn't just want to take the edge off. I wanted to be comfortable in the space. So I bit the bullet and I went with the premium option, a ductless mini split. A mini split is basically a dedicated heating and cooling system. It has an outdoor unit on the outside, and then an indoor unit on the inside. There's no ductwork, no tying into the home's AC system. It conditions only the garage, so you can turn it on when you're using the space and turn it off when you're not, or just keep it at a medium temperature. and you can control it separately from the rest of the house. For most people who want to use the garage regularly, this is definitely going to be the best answer. You want a garage gym, mini split. Workshop, mini split. Hobby room, mini split. Motorcycles, tools, bicycles, storage, freezer, project space, or just not wanting your car to feel like a baked potato when you get in it, mini split. So mini splits are definitely not the cheapest option. A professionally installed system will cost several $1,000s, depending on the size, the brand, the electrical requirements, the line set, the accessories, the install conditions, and whether you're adding insulation or other improvements. So yes, it costs more than a swamp cooler, more than a portable, more than a window unit. There's no argument there. But it also gives you a lot different result. A good mini split is quiet, it's efficient, it doesn't require a big hole in the wall like a window unit, doesn't have a hose running across the garage like a portable unit, it doesn't depend on dry air like a swamp cooler, and it doesn't connect your garage to your home's duct system. That's why I'd say it's the best overall option, not the cheapest, the best. Now, before you go run into the comments, yes, I know you could buy cheap mini splits online, and I've made a whole video about why I'm cautious with many of these systems. The issue is not whether it cools on day one. The issue is parts availability, warranty support, the installation quality, and whether anyone will work on it later on. Because a mini split is only a bargain if it keeps working and someone can service it. For better brands, we have good results with systems like Mitsubishi, Gree, Fujitsu, and AirTemp depending on the budget and the application. Mitsubishi being the premium option, Gree is a strong value option. That's what I use in my own garage. And AirTemp can make sense for someone who really wants a professionally installed system without necessarily going all the way up to the top shelf price point. But I want to be clear about something. A mini split is not magic. If your garage has no ceiling insulation, you have west-facing metal garage door, and air leaks big enough for lizards to walk in carrying their luggage, a mini split is going to work harder than it should. So that brings me to one of the important parts of cooling your garage, insulation. If you want your garage cooling project to work well, insulation matters a lot. Garages are usually not built like the living space. The wall that's shared with the house is usually insulated. The exterior walls are usually not. Sometimes they are, but usually not. The garage door is a giant metal heat radiator, and the ceiling above the garage can be a major source of heat, especially in hot places like here in Arizona. So when I added my mini split to my own garage, I also added blown-in insulation above the garage, and I insulated the garage doors. That made a big difference. If you just want to take the edge off, you can sometimes get away with less. But if you want your garage to be comfortable for long periods of time, insulation is just part of the system. It's not a cute little upgrade. It's not a bonus. It is part of the system. So if I were looking at a garage cooling project, I'd usually pay attention to the ceiling or attic insulation first. Then the garage door, especially bigger ones, and insulating every single wall really doesn't usually make sense on a garage, but the ceiling and the garage door are where I start, especially when the garage door faces west or it gets hammered by the afternoon sun. I'd love to hear from you on this. If you've insulated your own garage door, comment below, tell me how much difference it made. Some people swear that it changed everything. Others say that it helped, but it didn't solve the problem by itself. Usually that comes down to sun exposure, ceiling insulation, air leaks, and how hot the garage was to begin with. So now that I've personally tried the swamp cooler, the portable AC, the window unit, and the mini split, here's how I'd rank them. For full-time garage use, number one is the ductless mini split. It's the quietest, it's the most efficient, it's the most comfortable, and it's a permanent solution. If you want the garage to feel like real usable space, this is the option I'd be looking at. For dry season relief, a swamp cooler can help, especially in places with very dry air. But in Phoenix, humidity rises during the monsoon season, so don't expect the same performance. For temporary relief, spot cooling, a portable AC can be useful. It's not my favorite long-term solution, but it has a place. For cheap refrigerated cooling, a window can work if the garage layout makes sense. But between the wall opening, noise, appearance, security issues, and replacement concerns, it is a compromise. And tying into the house AC is dead last. Actually, it doesn't even make my list. It's the nope option. So how should you choose? I would start with how you actually use your garage. If you only need to be out there once in a while for short projects, you may not need to spend thousands of dollars on a mini split. A portable AC swamp cooler or even a window unit may be enough depending on your climate and your expectations. If you use the garage every day, that changes things. If it's going to be a gym, a workshop, a hobby room, an office space, or you want to be comfortable in there for hours at a time, I'd look much harder at a mini split and insulation. If your garage faces west, it has no attic insulation, a bare metal door, and you want it 72 degrees in August, this is a very different project than someone who wants it 10 degrees cooler for weekend projects. Garage cooling does depend on the square footage, the ceiling height, the insulation, sun exposure, how often the garage door opens, what you're doing in the garage, and how cold you really expect it to get. That's why I don't like one-size-fits-all answers. A one-car garage that's used for storage is different from a four-car garage that's used as a gym or a workshop. A well-insulated garage is different from a bare block oven. And in Phoenix is different from Pennsylvania. Although in fairness, Pennsylvania has humidities, mosquitoes, and potholes, so nobody gets off easy here. For me personally, I worked my way up the ladder. I tried a swamp cooler, I tried the portable AC unit, I tried the window unit and a combination thereof, and now with my four-car garage, I have a ductless mini split. It doesn't mean every homeowner needs to start there, but it does mean I've lived with the cheaper options. I understand why people consider them, and I understand their limitations. If you're in the Phoenix metro area here, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, Scottsdale, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, Phoenix, or anywhere nearby, Magic Touch installs ductless mini splits for garages, and we can help you figure out what actually makes sense for your space. But even if you're not local, the same basic rules apply. Don't connect your garage to the house AC. Don't ignore the insulation. Don't buy equipment nobody in your area is willing to service. And don't expect a few $100 quick fix to perform like a professionally installed system in a Phoenix garage in July. So my question to you is, what have you tried to cool your garage? Are you trying to cool a garage gym, a workshop, storage space, a hobby room, a home office, or just a place to get into your car without needing oven mitts? Comment below, tell me what city you're in, what your garage size is, and which option you're considering. Mini split, portable, window unit, or swamp cooler. And if you've already tried one of these, tell us how it worked, because I know I'm not the only one who started with the cheaper options before finally saying, okay, fine, let's just do this right. If you're leaning towards buying a cheap mini split online, watch this video next before you buy it. It's going to save you money, frustration, and a very awkward conversation with a contractor who refuses to work on it later. I have been installing these units. I guess I never even mentioned it in this video. My name is Rich Morgan. I own Magic Touch Mechanical, and I've owned this air conditioning and heating company for the last 29 and a half years here in Phoenix. We have installed hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of mini splits in garages and whole home situations. We have installed evap coolers, swamp coolers over the years. So I knew that installing one in my home is really what I needed to do. I was trying to save a buck just like everybody else, but I tell you now what I tell everybody else. The two best things that I ever bought for myself were LASIK eye surgery and a mini split for my garage. So that's my take on it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.